Hi everyone, it's Michelle and welcome to my channel. So in one of my recent videos, you guys will see, I have been reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, the whole series by Sarah J. Maas. So I read the first four, which of course are, let me show them to you here quickly since I have them. Well, I have three of them, but anyway, I have A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and then A Court of Wings and Ruin. So I'm still trying to source all the hardcovers. I've also read the fourth one as well, which is of course A Court of Frost and Starlight. Guys, I have some thoughts I'm going to chat to you guys about. Oh man, I love the series. Like, isn't it just so typical? So I said in my other video, which was quite interesting, that Elliot Brooks, gosh, I'll actually try and link her thing down below, her channel down below for you guys. But a while ago I watched a video of hers and she kind of goes and she says, like, Sarah J. Maas, when she goes and she does these love scenes, it's, mountains shake and like the sky, like stars fall from the sky, like it's just gorgeous. And I couldn't agree more. So, but I do have some thoughts on that, and I know this topic's obviously been discussed at length, but if you guys don't know what the series is about, you've got Fair, who is, human, and in their land, they've got literally a wall that cannot be, you can't move from one side to the other. And there are a few little patches with breaks in the wall where you can get from one place to the next. But you've got Fair, she's in the human world. It's very cruel there. It's like they're in the middle of winter, it's freezing cold. Her mom died when she was little, and she's been hunting to feed her family. She's like the only one who's prepared to feed her family. Her dad seems to be a little useless, and while she's on a hunt, she comes across a deer that she wants to kill for food, and there's this massive big wolf there, and she thinks, oh my gosh, this wolf's probably Fae, I'm gonna kill it, because they above the wall, you've got Fae, you've got humans believe them to be quite cruel and not very nice. So, you don't really want to come across one in the woods. So off she goes, she shoots this ash arrow at it, and the thing dies. And it leads her kind of down this little pathway of adventure where Tamlin, as a high lord, from above the wall, comes down because she's killed one of his men. Says, right, you got to come with me as like repentance or trade. You killed one of my men, you've now got to replace him. So off she goes, she gets pulled up to above the wall, and this whole thing ensues. And gosh, I think, look, it's quite a fairy tale. It was beautifully written. I really enjoyed that. And the beginning of the story, like Tamlin, gosh, there's a couple of like parts in the beginning where this is spoilery, so please forgive me, anybody, if you guys want to stop watching here, by all means, I certainly completely understand. So just a heads up and a pre-warning that we're going to go into a few spoilers now. But as this whole thing kind of goes on, she's trying to figure out how to get back to her family, which I think is admirable, and she's obviously, trying her best. And he has these attempts to kind of win her over that are completely like, oh my gosh, they are smack your head against a wall, completely blind, and just don't hit anywhere. And at some point, there ends up being this attraction. You can see the attraction because it kind of gets displayed from his side, not from hers. And yeah, it's very attractively written abuse. Kind of corners her, makes her very aware of how he is super attracted to her, kind of thing. And fortunately, it ends up kind of leaving it there. That is quite it's not a welcomed approach, which is obviously romanticized in the book, which is really not nice. But at the end of the day, they do fall in love. They do end up having this wonderful relationship. And then off he go, like something happens, he lets her go. She goes back down to her family. She comes back to try and help him. And he's been taken to under the mountain with this cruel woman, Amarantha. And she's sort of the queen of the Fey world at this point in time. And Tamlin is like, she wants to claim Tamlin as her own. So Feyre's gone up there and she's now gone to try and rescue her man. And through this whole process, she kind of finds an unlikely friend in in Rysand, and he seems to be really not very nice at all, but he seems to help her. But Tamlin literally does nothing. Like, he just sits there and lets everything happen. And I was absolutely blown away as I was reading this. I was like, who is this dude? He's like waiting for this human chick to help him. And I was just absolutely flabbergasted as to how completely and utterly useless he is. And why is she bothering? Gosh, it was quite something. And then when he finally does get a chance to talk to her, it's not about like, how can we escape? I'm trying to help you or anything like that. No, all he wants to do is get in her pants, which I thought was just, wow, there's character for you. Anyway, ends up, obviously everything happens and she ends up staying with Tamlin at the end of the story, and then whoop, off we go. We're into the second book of, Court of Mist and Fury. And then things kind of happen. You can see she's like completely overwhelmed by everything. And she's having to fit this role that no longer, works for her. And she has nightmares and all these things are happening, and Tamlin's not talking to her about anything. I just felt like at this point he was completely unsupportive, and she's like, this is just not happening. And I kept waiting for, Rysand to come in and say, right, you're coming to me for that week that we bargained. And I was like, please, can this happen so she can just get some time to herself so she can kind of figure things out a little bit more. And lo and behold, it does happen, but obviously, I'm going to try not to spoil that too much, but it kind of does happen. She gets exposed to the fact that she really hasn't been treated very well. And what I did really enjoy about Sarah J. Maas's, obviously, the series, is how over the next 3 books, it literally gets unpacked, where Feyre gets opened up to it. You have choice. At the end of the day, it is up to you. No one is here to control your fate. And I think that is such a phenomenal lesson, again, to teach to some of our kids. So yes, it's romanticized. Yes, it's put in there. I didn't like how romanticized it was in the first book. You kind of do enjoy it, but it has that thought-provoking thought of like, oh my gosh, like this is a bit much. But it becomes such a beautiful thing. She kind of comes into her own in this book, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The ending was, oh gosh, the ending was heartbreaking. I said bawling. The scenes, oh my gosh, the scenes, like the angst that goes on in here, and the romantic scenes that go on in these books. Like Sarah, she really knows how to write those well. I think they are absolutely beautiful. I think they're tastefully done. I think it's very, very cute. And then, of course, we end up on the third book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, where the whole world is kind of at war and all these things are happening. And it was a very impactful, very full book for that. A lot of stuff happened very quickly. I loved how she does that. She doesn't I don't feel like anything was like super dragged out. I think it was written just as the way it should have been written. And I enjoyed the relationships that came out of this. Like there was enough that was just made things absolutely beautiful. The little touches, the little details that kind of came into it were absolutely gorgeous. And then I did go on and I read the fourth book as well, I know it's not technically the fourth book, but A Court of Frost and Starlight. And although it's a little snippet, like so often when I get I don't know, let me know if you guys feel the same way, but quite often if I've read a phenomenal series that I've really, really, really enjoyed and like really ravished through, I end it and I almost have withdrawal symptoms, like, oh my gosh, I'm missing these characters, like they almost become part of your life in some way and you miss them so much. So when I got, I read the digital version of A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I was just like, oh yes, I just need to, touch on them a little bit more. And I loved how they came together, Rysand and Feyre, they came together to kind of figure out a way forward together. I think that was absolutely phenomenally done. And it may not be a big book. It may not have absolutely amazing hurrahs and all these things, and and the picture's not absolutely fantastic, but it's pretty enough that I felt, there's an ending here, they end up okay. And literally after reading that, I no longer had withdrawal symptoms. I was like, okay, I'm good. Story's done. That's awesome. I have, however, gotten the fourth book, which of course is the new one, A Court of Silver Flames with Nesta and Cassian. I'm quite curious to read that. I've heard some reviews that that one is a little bit more smutty, but we'll see how it goes. If it's anything along these lines, I think it's going to be fantastic. I enjoyed the characters. I'm keen to see their romance develop, so that's going to be good fun, especially since that's like, it really sort of feels like it's probably going to be like an enemies to lovers sort of story. Yeah, guys, this one was absolutely fantastic. This Court of Thorns and Roses series, I absolutely loved it. I loved the relationship. I loved how it developed. I loved how it developed naturally. I loved how he supported her choices. I think that on its own, you know, his own vulnerabilities, it just shows like how gorgeous a man can be, even with those vulnerabilities in place and exposed, especially to, you know, the person that you love. I love the aspects of family in here. You know, it was very much just a reminder again that family is not necessarily what you were born into, but it's also chosen. You know, you choose to have those people around you. And I think that's just absolutely fantastic. So guys, absolutely recommend. A new, like, one of the top series I've read. I've really, really loved that one. And that is, of course, A Court of Thorns and Roses, Mist and Fury, and Wings and Ruin, and Frost and Starlight. When I've read the fourth book, I will definitely, you know, pop that on here and I'll do a little review for you guys. I am so loving some of these books that I'm finding on YouTube. If you guys know of anything that's sort of along this line of Sarah J. Maas, please pop me a comment down below and let me know if you know of anything. I'd love to hear from you. In any case, this is goodbye from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!